All right, that brings us to new business. We are going to have board reorganization. I have given my resignation to the Board of Supervisors last month. I gave it to the end of this month, so they would have some time to recruit a new member. So I guess you guys are going to need a new chairman. After my 7 years, I'm ready to step aside.
Well, thank you for your service.
Wow. I was hoping somebody would
7
say
years,
that.
that's a lot. That's really good.
Sure.
As far as reorganization, I believe we should probably wait until
The new membership.
next meeting when we have a new member.
Phil, do you know if they are?
We're in discussions with that gentleman right now.
Okay.
In the meantime, we have a vice chair.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be here next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I heard about your resignation, and I don't know you. I've only been to a few of these meetings, but I'm going to ask you, for the sake of the citizens, if you would reconsider your resignation. Some of the things that have been happening with regards to this whole deal between the township, the authority, the sewer plant, leave a lot of questions, and we need some level-headedness. We need somebody who's going to be forthright in their decision-making, and so far you seem to be that kind of person, and I would like for you to at least reconsider your resignation.
Well, I appreciate your vote of confidence. But I guess at this point, I don't feel that I can be effective, so I'm going to volunteer somewhere else. Thank you. All right, does anyone else have any other new business? Then I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
I have a question with regards to the meeting on May 13th. That meeting I know had been advertised, but it was kind of a haphazard, quick meeting. In January, you guys were adamant about having Glaze Associates be the engineering firm of record, and within 5 months that changed. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, I don't know if we need to rehash that whole thing. I mean, it was a public meeting and there were minutes. Are the minutes posted yet?
Not posted. Need to be approved?
We didn't approve them at the beginning of this meeting, did we?
No, it was right with last month's
We should.
meeting. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, well, let's, we have a motion to approve the special meeting minutes.
I approve it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
When will that be available then? On the website? Okay. They'll be on the website tomorrow. It's been a tough,
I mean,
Battle and
whose idea was
battle's
this
over.
meeting?
pardon me.
Whose idea was this emergency meeting?
I'm gonna say that Phil kicked it out there, am I right?
No.
The first email?
I guess what, yeah.
Phil kicked the ball out and Ted jumped on it and off it went. And I wasn't
Some
able to
dates,
attend, so I can't really speak.
Right, and you weren't present. But what was the reasoning behind the meeting? Like, I'm really curious because, you know, I've been told that it had something to do with billing issues, but the Treasury reports have always been approved. There's never been an issue. Is that the reason for that meeting?
No, not that I recall.
It had nothing to do with.
No, I think, wait till the minutes come out. When they.
Well, I'd rather ask now before we adjourn this meeting because, you know, we have Mr. Stoner here, so I'd like to, you know, it just seems like, again, my statement earlier, there seems to be a lot of chaos and a lot of things that are happening. And let's be honest, everybody in this room understands that this authority and this sewer fund pulls in a lot of money for this township. And, you know, I have some real concerns about the way it's being manipulated. And that's just from what I've seen, and that's from what I've heard.
What do you mean by the word manipulating?
Well, did you have dinner with Ray Halverson a week prior to discuss
I see
that?
Ray Halverson.
Did you
every week.
specifically have dinner with
No.
Mr. Halverson to discuss the Glace issue?
No.
No? Okay. Well, then there's probably 10 people out there that know about that are all deceptive in some way. So, you know, again,
Again,
There's-
tell me who those 10 people are.
no.
You can make
I
any
don't-
statements you want, and
I
I have
don't need
innuendos
to.
to them, so state what you're actually stating.
Well, I have some concerns. I mean, first of all, Glace was fired due to improper billing, correct?
No.
Then what was it? I mean, it's a simple question, and it can be answered easily. I don't understand what the problem is.
In very generic terms, there were performance issues.
Performance, okay. Do you have anything to do with the lack of doing his job, or like, I'm just curious because the information that we were sold by the township states one thing, but yet the proof's in the pudding with regards to the things that actually happened, the repairs that were made, the decisions that had happened over the years with regards to the TMDL issue, and things weren't being done because of it. We didn't want to spend the money, we didn't want to waste the time, and now all of a sudden, you know, we're having a $14 million bill thrown at us. So, you know, I'm just curious because, you know, these things are being done. You guys were adamant about keeping Glace on this year, and then all of a sudden it changed. And there has never been a reprimand has there ever been a reprimand
No.
of any kind?
No. Max, do you want to, you
Yeah,
requested to make a statement?
Yes,
Why don't you go ahead?
actually, I did bring along a letter for you, Dave, and first of all, I'm sorry to hear that you're resigning. I think you've been a very good influence on the authority for the last 7 years.
Thank you, Max, it's been good work.
And you too, and the rest of you, and with the exception of transparent Ted here, but I've been working with the authority for 31 years. Our firm started the sewer system with a study for the township back in 1956. During my 31 years, I've overseen the expansion of the treatment plant, 4.5 to 6 million gallons per day. Worked with your municipal partners, East Goshen, West Whiteland, West Townships. Sewered the entire northern portion of the township, which I haven't seen or heard of any significant sewer issues in that area, or really at the treatment plant until the last 6 months or so. I don't know if there's any coincidence there or not, but I just wanted to say that, and it's been a pleasure working with you, with Ross. He's been he was there before me, so he worked for another firm before that, but he's been there for many years, and I think been a good guiding force for the township. I think when we first started and did the feasibility study, the township had about 2,000 people, and the area right around the township building here, Chatwood and Suburban Village, all had, houses with very small lots, and they had septic system issues, and that's why the township was progressive and forward-thinking and proceeded to undertake a sewage system prior to EPA or DER or their predecessors. So it's been a pleasure working with you. I've made a lot of friends down here. I do think what upsets me the most is the lack of respect that's been provided to the authority, and also to me personally over the last 6 months. I think you guys do put a lot of work and effort in the last 6 months. What you're paid monthly stipend is not worth coming out to a meeting, and personally, I don't blame you for resigning, but my fear is who's willing to take your place and what he or she is going to be coerced into acting on at the request of the supervisors.
To clarify, the stipend, it's $40.
A meeting, so,
I think that's excessive.
and they take
Yeah,
tax out.
we're not, it's not affecting my income taxes, what I'm getting compensated by this township.
Yeah.
So this is.
Okay, go ahead.
But let's be clear though, I mean, when you guys choose or accept these positions, you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it to serve. I mean, that's the clear point.
Correct.
And,
That's right.
and, you know, I find all of this that I've learned, you know, over the past few months to be reprehensible at best. Because some of the things that have been said to me over these past few months, both on and off the record, have really opened my eyes to a lot of problems within our township and a lot of issues that really have not been brought to light and need to be. And this is one of them. I mean,
Well, I can say, from my own personal experience, I've been a township supervisor now coming up on 6 years now. And for the couple of years prior to that, I was the one like you, sitting in the audience, throwing the little grenades up there. You know, and there's a big transition from being a grenade thrower to actually getting elected to a position and start assuming the responsibility for it. It takes on a whole different scale, and it's been a real education. So, I mean,
Bill's talking about being a township supervisor,
yes,
not
I applaud these
an
gentlemen.
authority member.
Yes, but I applaud, I mean, it's an analogous situation. We're not doing this for the money, because there's no money involved here. Yeah, and there's a lot of work in there, and a lot of responsibility. So you're doing it out of a sense of civic responsibility and civic obligation.
As are we.
Yes,
To suggest that we're sitting out here throwing grenades?
no,
I'm
but certain
offended by-
individuals
I'm
do.
offended by that, sir.
Well, I'm sorry if I offended you. I'm just making generic statements.
Okay, well, Max,
Okay.
let's let you.
I'd like to continue. At the May 13th meeting, which was hastily called the day before and advertised with 24 hours notice, some things were brought up which were, as you were saying earlier, allegations, innuendos, half-truths. I prepared a response to those, what I took from the minutes of the meeting and from the email that was sent to the authority members and supervisors by the township staff. And I spoke to the structural engineering firm that did the work. They're very qualified, and to say that their plans are substandard and that, you know, they, you know, missed this and missed that. The addendum that were put out weren't extensive. The contractors had plenty of time to do it. It's everything that we were assigned to do since last year has been undermined in one way or the other. We're supposed to replace the roof at the operations building. Well, they don't know where they're going to put the new fans, so we'll put this off. You know, the pump station, you know, what we did, and that was brought up, oh, we wasted this money. Well, we did the environmental reviews to see if there's any issues with building station there. You know, there happened to be 3 eagle nests within the 600 feet perimeter, so we couldn't, you know, we could only build between July and December. So we're going to miss another year here because of that. What was the other? There's a couple other things that whatever we tried to do were blocked or delayed. So, you know, that the township can do the work, you know, with their new engineer. So I'm, you know, I don't like the way that I was treated through this process. I think what's the biggest shame, though, is how 3 of the senior staff there with 43 to 47 years of experience were shunned from the takeover in September until they retired in early January. And the allegations of of hostile work environment had to be completely false because nothing was ever brought out about it, public or in private that I'm aware of. Actually, I found that the work environment at the treatment plant since September has been hostile. People that I've known for 15, 20 years, they don't even want to speak to me when I'm down there because they're afraid that they'll be punished in some manner, one way or the other. So, you know, I know it sounds like sour grapes, but believe me, I feel sorry. I've put a lot of time and effort over the years into the West Goshen Sewer Authority and the West Goshen Township community in general, and I've never been treated the way I've been treated in any other community, and especially after everything that we've done. But I've done it because I've enjoyed working with the people here. So thank you very much, Dave. I wish you the best, and the rest of the authority, don't drink any more Kool-Aid from the room next door before meetings. So thank you very much.
So does that give you an answer to your question? That's a little
It
flavor.
gave me a couple answers and it raised a whole lot more.
Well, maybe you should have dinner with Ray Hobbs.
I don't think that one would go very
Yes, sir.
well.
When you have a
know.
special meeting like that, how do you notify? Is that in the newspaper? or-
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's required that
They will
be advertised, and we did. There was time.
Yeah, we would have happened to send somebody if we knew it was happening.
Sure.
You know, 'cause we got a piece of the action here.
So East Goshen wasn't informed?
No, I won't say that. I wasn't informed until I got the minutes of the meeting from Rick.
Well, I just,
I mean, that doesn't mean, I mean, there's no skullduggery. I mean, I don't happen to subscribe to the Daily Local, so I can't blame it on that.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an outdated ordinance that has to get advertised in the paper, but that's a requirement now, am I
That's a
correct?
legal requirement, it's been a legal requirement for eons.
Unfortunately, that hasn't changed
As long
in
as I can
times.
remember. And there's a lot of questions about whether it's effective or not, and there have been legislation to try to provide that they could, in lieu of publishing in the newspapers, it could be done online, but I guess the newspaper lobby is too strong, and it's still a retained requirement.
Margie Dow.
Yeah, no, I just want to ask Mr. Corvo if that's something he could bring to the board and maybe as a topic for next week's meeting, as far as whenever there's a public notice that's required to be placed in the Daily Local, that as a matter of policy by the township, it's also put on the website. It may not be
You're free to
required.
bring that up also at the next meeting next Wednesday.
Actually, I brought up
Send an invitation.
putting the sewer authority meetings on the website. The sewer, this meeting tonight wasn't on the website, so I've
Oh, I know.
suggested a number of things.
It is, because I asked my wife, what time's the meeting? She said, check the website. And that's how I
It is
found
there.
that.
Oh,
the
it
time
is,
was
okay.
for
It wasn't,
tonight.
I didn't see it earlier this morning. On the calendar?
Yes,
yes, sir.
7:30.
It's generally it's advertised every
You,
month.
sir, are representing me as a citizen, and I'm asking you, as my representative, if you'd kindly bring that to the board.
It'll be my pleasure.
As a new business. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Well,
Okay.
We got a motion to adjourn, I think.
I have a motion to adjourn. Any seconds? All in favor? Wish you all the best. Sure. All right. Yeah.